The Mississippi Bubble in France, 1719 to 1720. Picture yourself in the vibrant streets of Paris, the cultural and economic heart of France in the early 18th century. It's a time of great optimism and ambition as the country emerges from the ashes of war and political upheaval under the rule of the flamboyant Regent Philippe d'Orléans. Against this backdrop of newfound stability and prosperity, a financial revolution is about to unfold, fueled by the dreams of untold wealth and boundless opportunity. The stage is set in 1717 when a Scottish adventurer and financier named John Law arrives in Paris with a revolutionary vision to transform France's economy. Law, a charismatic and enigmatic figure, proposes the creation of a state-backed trading company, the Mississippi Company, with exclusive rights to exploit the resources of the French colony of Louisiana in North America. The lure of riches from the New World captures the imagination of investors, and soon, the Mississippi Company's stock becomes the hottest commodity in town. As news of the company's potential spreads like wildfire, a speculative frenzy ensues, with investors clamoring to buy shares at ever-increasing prices. The streets of Paris buzz with excitement as fortunes are made and lost overnight. Even the nobility and the clergy join the fray, mortgaging their estates and selling their jewels to get a piece of the action. The promise of quick riches blinds investors to the risks, and soon speculation reaches fever pitch. In 1719, the French government, eager to capitalize on the frenzy, grants the Mississippi Company exclusive trading rights with the lucrative East Indies. The move sends the company's stock soaring to dizzying heights, making John Law one of the wealthiest men in France virtually overnight. But beneath the surface, cracks begin to appear in the facade of prosperity. By 1720, the bubble has reached its breaking point. Concerns about the company's true value and the sustainability of its ventures trigger a panic among investors. In a desperate bid to shore up confidence, Law and the French government resort to drastic measures, including banning the sale of gold and silver, issuing more paper money, and manipulating the stock market. But their efforts are in vain, and in May 1720, the bubble bursts. The fallout is catastrophic. Stock prices plummet, wiping out fortunes and plunging France into economic chaos. The collapse of the Mississippi bubble triggers a broader financial crisis, with banks failing, businesses collapsing, and social unrest spreading across the country. John Law is forced to flee France, leaving behind a trail of ruin and devastation. The Mississippi bubble brought both positive and negative consequences, leaving a significant impact on the nation's economy, society, and politics. At the outset, the Mississippi bubble led to a surge in economic activity as investors poured money into the Mississippi Company and other ventures associated with the scheme. This influx in capital stimulated business expansion, infrastructure development, and job creation, driving economic growth and prosperity in France. The French government, led by Regent Philippe d'Orléans, saw the Mississippi scheme as an opportunity to bolster state finances. By granting exclusive trading rights to the Mississippi Company and issuing shares to investors, the government raised substantial revenue through stock sales and licensing fees. This infusion of funds helped finance government projects, reduce debt, and stabilize the economy. The Mississippi scheme introduced innovative financial instruments and techniques that laid the groundwork for modern financial markets. John Law's system of paper currency, stock issuance, and speculative trading paved the way for the development of stock exchanges, central banking, and corporate finance in the centuries that followed. Despite its eventual collapse, the Mississippi bubble contributed to the evolution of financial systems and practices. The most glaring negative consequence of the Mississippi bubble was the speculative frenzy it unleashed. Investors, driven by greed and speculation, bought shares of the Mississippi Company at inflated prices, believing that the company's ventures in the New World would yield untold riches. This speculative mania led to irrational exuberance, with people mortgaging their homes and selling their possessions to invest in the scheme. This speculative bubble created by the Mississippi scheme eventually burst in 1720, leading to a catastrophic financial collapse. Stock prices plummeted, wiping out fortunes and bankrupting investors. The collapse of the bubble triggered a broader financial crisis, with banks failing, businesses collapsing, and social unrest spreading across France. The economy was thrown into turmoil, leading to widespread hardship and suffering. The fallout from the Mississippi bubble contributed to political instability and undermined public confidence in the government. Regent Philippe d'Orléans, who had championed the scheme, faced criticism and backlash for his role in promoting the speculative mania. The collapse of the bubble fueled discontent among the populace and eroded trust in the monarchy, laying the groundwork for political unrest and upheaval in the years that followed. The Mississippi Scheme exacerbated social inequality in France as the wealthiest members of society, including aristocrats and financiers, profited from the speculative boom while ordinary people suffered from the consequences of the collapse. Many investors lost their life savings, homes, and livelihoods, deepening the divide between the rich and the poor and fueling resentment towards the elites. Some of the most prominent individuals associated with this historic event. John Law, a Scottish economist and financier, is widely regarded as the architect of the Mississippi Scheme. Arriving in France in the early 18th century, Law proposed the creation of the Mississippi Company, a state-backed trading venture with exclusive rights to exploit the resources of the French colony of Louisiana. Law's vision captured the imagination of investors, leading to a surge in demand for shares of the Mississippi Company and fueling the speculative mania. However, Law's ambitious plans ultimately proved unsustainable, and the collapse of the bubble tarnished his reputation and forced him into exile. Philippe d'Orléans, the regent of France, played a pivotal role in promoting the Mississippi Scheme and facilitating its implementation. As de facto ruler of France during the minority of King Louis XV, d'Orléans sought to bolster state finances and stimulate economic growth through innovative financial schemes. He granted exclusive trading rights to the Mississippi Company and actively promoted the sale of its shares to investors, seeing it as a means to raise revenue and reduce government debt. However, his support for the scheme ultimately backfired as its collapse undermined his credibility and fueled political instability. Nicolas Desmarets, a Controller General of Finances, was responsible for overseeing the financial administration of France during the Mississippi Bubble. Desmarets initially expressed skepticism about the scheme, but eventually became a proponent of Law's economic theories and policies. He collaborated closely with Law in implementing the Mississippi Scheme, issuing paper currency, and managing the government's finances. However, his role in promoting the speculative mania made him a target of criticism when the bubble burst, and he was ultimately dismissed from office. Cardinal Dubois, a trusted advisor to Regent Philippe d'Orléans, played a behind-the-scenes role in promoting the Mississippi Scheme and securing the government's support for Law's initiatives. Dubois recognized the potential of the scheme to bolster state finances and advance Orleans' political agenda, and he used his influence to rally support among the nobility and clergy. However, Dubois' involvement in the speculative frenzy tarnished his reputation and contributed to the political fallout from the bubble's collapse. While not individual figures in the traditional sense, the investors who participated in the Mississippi Scheme played a crucial role in fueling the speculative mania. Aristocrats, merchants, and commoners alike eagerly bought shares of the Mississippi Company, hoping to profit from the promised riches of the New World. Many investors mortgaged their homes, sold their possessions, and borrowed heavily to invest in the scheme, driven by greed and speculation. When the bubble burst, these investors suffered devastating losses, plunging many into financial ruin. The Mississippi bubble in France ultimately led to a devastating financial collapse, triggering widespread economic turmoil, political instability, and social unrest. The speculative frenzy fueled by the scheme resulted in the loss of fortunes, bankruptcies, and a loss of confidence in financial institutions. The aftermath of the bubble burst undermined the credibility of the French government, tarnished the reputations of key figures involved, and left a lasting impact on the nation's economy and society. The Mississippi bubble serves as a cautionary tale of the dangers of speculative excess and the fragility of financial markets.